Alright, guys, welcome back. UFC Fight Night Burns versus Morales in the fucking apex of all places. This is punishment, man. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We got what we wanted last week with Bilal Muhammad getting dethroned by JDM, and now the UFC is punishing us by putting us back in the apex. But let's just get into it, man. Starting off in these prelims. Tisha Pennington, Luana Pinedo. I'm going with Tisha Pennington. She's a good fighter, and not only is she good, she's always been consistently good. Although she's had some decisions not go her way, I do believe she's a good fighter, and she's good enough to beat someone like Luana Pinedo, who I feel like is on the decline and is not really improving in any way, at least in any significant way, to where I would feel confident picking her to win this fight. And also, aside from the fight itself, I don't know why the Tisha Pennington isn't more popular, or like those bad decisions didn't go her way. She's very marketable. Her and Raquel Pennington together are like a marketable WMMA power couple, and it's a good storyline in the UFC. For whatever reason, just doesn't care about building it. But that's just a more broad discussion about the UFC's shitty marketing. But whatever. I'm taking Tisha Pennington. Ooh, Park Young Sung, my Korean brother. My Korean brother. I'm not Korean, by the way, but my Korean brother. Please, man. Carlos Hernandez, he is okay. He could win this. Okay, I'm not gonna say he's gonna get dominated, but I'm taking Park Young Sung. He's good, man. All right, he's got good performances. I believe in him. I believe in Korean MMA is in the can right now. All right, we need another bro up there. What, Sung Woo Choi just got cut. Lee Jung Young is probably gonna get cut after another loss, and he just lost last week. Do Hoo Choi Choi's okay. He's winning for now. He's only on a 2-fight win streak, so let's see if he can extend it. And then Jung Young Park, whatever. He's actually really good, but for the UFC just doesn't give a shit about him for some reason. So even if he wins his next fight, he's still not going to be in the freaking rankings, or even close to being in the rankings. So let's just hope he wins. But we need someone like Park Hyung Sung, an undefeated prospect, who's shown great finishing abilities and who's shown real talent. So let's do it, Park Young Sung. Let's do it for our brothers, man, our Korean brothers. All right, next, Elise Reed, Denise Gomez. Denise Gomez looks like Jean Matsumoto. It's freaky. They're the same person. I think after the loss against Rob Font, Jean Matsumoto was like, "Fuck it, I'm getting a sex change. I'm going to the W." With that being said, I'm gonna pick Denise Gomez to win this. She is pretty good. She's Brazilian. She's a lesbian. She's durable. Looks like a man. Definitely has more testosterone than the average female in the UFC roster. I'm taking Denise Gomez. Next, Tayanara Lisboa versus Luana Santos. I'm going with Luana Santos. Um, these women are both okay fighters. I just think Luana Santos is a little bit better. She's got better striking for sure. I'm gonna take her to win this, even though she's a disgusting, freak who's into bestiality. But that's neither here nor there. She should win this fight, and I'm gonna take her to win this fight. And I'll say this too. Although women's MMA, we've always historically shit on it. It's actually been pretty good these past couple months, and I'm very happy with it. So let's hope it keeps becoming more exciting, because then it just makes the entire sport more marketable, and it's just good for the sport. It's better, and it's definitely better for the UFC if every fight can be entertaining, especially the women's fights. You know what I mean? Because they've historically been kind of mid. Next, Yadir Del Valle versus Connor Matthews. Same thing with the Park Young Sung, fight. Yadir Del Valle should win this. They're serving Connor Matthews up for him to get the win, and I hope he can do it, man. Like this one should honestly kind of be a lock. He's clearly talented. I'm not saying he's like insanely next level, but he's definitely a step up above like a Connor Matthews level comp. So I'm gonna take Connor Matthews in this. Sorry, I'm gonna take Yadir Del Valle in this. Next, Jared Gordon, Thiago Moises. Jared Gordon and Tisha Pennington are sort of cut from the same cloth. Just good fighters who never get decisions their way. Jared Gordon has got headbutted by Bobby Green, robbed by Nasrat Hakparas, famously robbed by Paddy Pimblett. I just think he still wants it. Although the sport has clearly turned its back on him, and hopefully he's self-aware enough to know that he's never touching the belt. I feel like in his mind, he's like, I still have something to prove. I'm still a good fighter. I can still win. Whereas Thiago Moises, he's probably collecting a check. He's a win one lose one kind of fighter at this point. He's the black sheep of the fighting nerds. So I'm gonna pick Jared Gordon to win this. All right, man, and hopefully he wins this mid off that we're about to have here in these early prelims. Next, Gabe Green, Mateus Camilo. Oh man, a move down to lightweight for Gabe Green. Who knows it'll pay off for him? Let's see. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays. I wonder if it's going to pay off for him. 32-24. Mateus Camilo is really good, I will say, but it's interesting for the move down because Gabe Green has had some pretty good fights. He's I don't want to say pretty good fights, but he's fought good comp in the welterweight division. He fought D-Rod, he fought Ian Gary, he fought Brian Battle. I think his most recent loss was a first round TKO against Brian Battle. And I think maybe he was like, fuck it, let me lose some weight, let me cut down to lightweight, let's see how my durability is. I just don't know if that's a good move to be doing at 32. So his losses plus, this sort of, this like 180 this late in your career, I'm going to take Mateus Camilo. I think the odds are kind of stacked up against Gabe Green. So I'm taking Mateus Camilo. Next, Julian Erosa, Malik Costa. Julian Erosa, man, he's an interesting fighter. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He beat Darren Elkins, who was a victim in that cage with him. He choked C-Rod. Truthfully, although I was happy to see it, I do believe it was a bit of a fluke. We've seen C-Rod perform amazingly against all these fucking prospects. And he gets first round submitted by Julian Erosa. Like, what the fuck? But whatever. Malik Costa, though, I feel like he's actually really good. And I'm happy that he's getting these wins together, and I want to see him, break into the rankings here in featherweight. And I really, really, really hope he can. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Is honestly his fight is probably one of the ones on the card I'm looking forward to the most. I really hope Malik can get this win. I'm gonna pick him to win, and after this win, hopefully we can get him like a shot against like Dan Ige or something at the bottom of the featherweight rankings. So that's what's next for him. Dustin Stoltzfus, Nursultan Ruzabov. Dustin Stoltzfus sucks, bro. But don't let that fool you from the fact that Nursultan Ruzabov also fucking sucks, bro. Nursultan Ruzabov is a can crusher. Do not let that 35 wins on his record fool you. He is a can crusher. He is 3-1 in the UFC. His only good win in his entire career is against Bruno Ferreira. And I don't even know how he did that, bro. Because, he lost against Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley is very good, as we found out. So that's fine. That's fair. It's whatever. But then, he TKO's Boot Gang, Cedricus Dumas, off of, like an eye poke TKO. And then he beats a guy making his short notice debut who had no business being in there with him. He's literally a fucking Uber driver. But, man. Nursultan Ruzabov is like a guy they want to pretend like is a prospect, but he's definitely not. Versus Dustin Stoltzfus is like a guy that the UFC feeds to guys they perceive as prospects. You know what I'm saying? So Nursultan Ruzabov, I'm going to pick him to win. He better win. He should win. But I don't think he's ever going to be anything at middleweight. Let me make that fucking clear. Myron Santos, Sadiq Youssef. I'm picking Myron Santos. Not because he's like amazing, although he did fuck up Con Oakley. Not because he's like super amazing. I just think he's more committed to the game. He's very young. Sadiq Youssef is also young, but he's not that young on second thought. But he's young. He's hungry. He's had the willingness to get better. He's got the finishing ability. He's got the power, and I'm excited to see what we can do at 155. I'm not sure if it's the right move, but regardless of him beating Sadiq Youssef, I believe he should stay at 155 for at least one more fight to get a real feel for it, because Sadiq Youssef is also a featherweight moving up. So I don't think that's necessarily a good test to see how you do at lightweight. With that being said, I'm more picking Myron Santos to win because of what Sadiq Youssef is doing in his career. All right, man. I believe he has 2 losses in a row right now. Fucking against the guy, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting his damn name. And then Diego Lopez getting KO'd against Diego Lopez. And on top of that, he definitely has one foot out the door in his career. He's got a career going on outside of the UFC. And the fight game is not something you just dabble in. That's something you have to be fully committed to, because literally your life is on the fucking line. Like your face, your brain, your body. This is something you need to be committed to wholeheartedly, and I don't believe he is. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Myron Santos. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just have to look. It's gonna drive me crazy. Edson Barbosa, bro, shoot me in the face. Duh, dude, it's literally on the tip of my tongue. Paul Craig, Rodolfo Bellato. The only way I can see in my mind Paul Craig wins this is if Rodolfo Bellato knocks him down, pounces on him, Paul Craig smothers him in the guard, reverses position, and gets some sort of submission. But I don't see that happening. I see it happening as like an avenue for a W, but I don't see it actually happening. I'm going with Rodolfo Bellato to chin Paul Craig. That's essentially what I'm doing. I'm picking Rodolfo Bellato. I'm going to trust him in his hands to chin Paul Craig. Rodolfo Bellato, yes, his debut was a draw, but it was a war with Jimmy Crute. And Paul Craig does not have the chin or the striking ability to go to war with anybody. If he insists on staying on the feet against Rodolfo Bellato, he will get fucked up. So I'm going to go with Rodolfo Bellato. Next, Myron Santos, Michael Morales. Gilbert Burns, yes, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. With that being said, his 3 losses are literally against a champ, a former champ, and a guy who's definitely going to have a title shot within the next year and a half. Those are not bad losses to have. With that being said, I am going to pick him to lose. I'm going to pick him to lose this. This is how I see the fight going. I think it's, well, first of all, let me say this. I'm picking Michael Morales, but I think it's going to be a boring decision because Gilbert Burns clearly was fighting not to lose instead of fighting to win against Sean Brady in his last fight. But the unwillingness to stand and strike, I think he's really going to want to test himself against Michael Morales. But Michael Morales has some serious power and has some slick hands and has good fight IQ and good combos. So I think in the first 2 rounds, they're probably going to have some decent exchanges. And after that, Gilbert Burns is like, yeah, fuck it. And he's just probably going to try and smother Michael Morales up against the cage, try and get takedowns. Maybe he will be successful in that a little bit. But I think Michael Morales will get back up and he'll just piece him up at range. But if Michael Morales gets a win, I will be confident in picking him going forward against guys who are at a higher level than him in the division. You know, like 7-6, 5-4, 3-2-1. You know what I'm saying? Like those top guys. But if he doesn't finish Gilbert Burns in like it, or he doesn't completely dominate Gilbert Burns, I'm not sure how confident I will be moving forward. With that being said, I'm going to take Michael Morales. Let me know what you guys think.